What is up, guys? Clint here, back with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how I built this React.js front-end application. I'm really excited. Basically, it's like a cloud management front-end app here, and really cool. We're going to be building it with Tailwind CSS. There will be no custom CSS in here. I'm really having a great time learning Tailwind. It's super, super powerful, and there's nothing I haven't been able to do in Tailwind that I can't do in custom CSS. So this is what we're building here. Like I said, cloud management front-end React.js application here. We're going to be using smooth scroll. So this is our fixed navbar here at the top. Have a nice header here using the flexbox and grid system here. We can click this. We're going to get a nice scroll down to the about section here. Boom, there we go. Looking nice. And then the support. Boom, we're going to show you how to do an overlay in Tailwind CSS with these cards here as well. Put a little nice border around our icons. We're going to be using hero icons or React icons here. And very, very nice. So scrolling down to the platforms. There we go. Using the grid system on this here. And then our pricing here at the bottom, very nice here. We're going to show you how to offset our margins here. So everything is looking nice. And everything, we're going to show you how you get a nice hover effect. Boom, there you go. And we're going to be reusing some properties here in Tailwind. I'm going to show you how to set that up as well. And let's just drag this down to a mobile device so you can see. Boom, and there we go. On like an iPhone XR here, everything is looking nice. Have our nice drop-down menu. Boom, there it goes. Scrolls down. Everything is looking clean, you guys. So I'm going to show you how to do this in React.js using Tailwind CSS from a complete blank slate. Without further ado, let's jump in. All right, we're starting off in VS Code here. What I'm going to do, just a blank code editor, I'm going to press the Control backtick button to open up my terminal here. I'm going to go ahead and change directory here to my desktop. Now, I'm going to create a React app. I'm going to be using Yarn in this video. If you're using NPM, that's fine. So I'm just going to type yarn create space React app, and then let's call this here cloud app React. Go ahead and press enter, guys. It'll only take a moment. All right, it says happy hacking. That means we're ready to go. I'm going to drag over my folder we just created. So I'm going to press this Control backtick button. I'm going to type yarn start to start up my development server. It's going to be npm start for using npm. Right, and what I'm going to do, this is just going to be our create React app boilerplate right here. So everything is working properly. I'm going to go in here and just get rid of a few things that we won't be using today. So these bottom three files, logo, report web files, setup test, app.css, and app.test. For this little application, let's just delete those. We're not going to need them. So don't worry about these errors here. React's really good at telling us where our errors are. It tells us exactly what we need to do. So in here, let's go ahead and remove this. There we go. And in our app.js, we can go and remove this code here. And we'll just delete that there. We'll just leave it as an empty fragment. And we can close that as well. So here we should be able to type some text in here, and it should show up on the screen. Let's just test and make sure. Hey, there you go. Everything is working. I'm going to go ahead and put this in a H1, actually, just so we can test our Tailwind. There we go. So let's go ahead and install Tailwind. How do we do that? Well, let's go over to the Tailwind CSS website, tailwindcss.com. I'm going to click Get Started here in our framework guides because we're using React. So here they have Next.js, Laravel, Vite, Nux. So they have a lot of things here. We're going to be using the Create React app. So go ahead and click that. So first, it's walking us through it from the beginning here. So we've already created our application here. So we can go ahead and skip this step. So down here, we need to install Tailwind. So go ahead and copy that if you're using NPM. I'm using Yarn, so I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to leave that D out of there. Sometimes I was having issues with that. So we can ever close this terminal here. You can open up a new one here. And I'm just going to type yarn, add Tailwind. There we go. And then I'm just going to copy this next line down. And NPX is different than NPM, you guys, just so there's no confusion there. So go ahead and run that. That's going to create our tailwind.config file over here on the left. There it is right there. Boom. Very, very nice. Now, go over here on Tailwind. We're not done yet. We need to do a few more things. So this content right here, that little array, we just need to copy this and put it inside of this content array here. Boom, there we go. All right, and then our index.css, which we left over here, we left that one open. We deleted the app.css. So we're going to go ahead and copy this, and it wants us to paste that inside our index.css. Now, we could just delete that. Boom, there we go. Now, we should be up and running here, so we might have to close our server here. So let's go ahead and restart here. I'm going to close this one, and I'm going to press Control C. So with Tailwind CSS, with the H1 and React, you're going to get this bold look here. With Tailwind, it should just look like plain p tag here. So our server is closed. Now let's crank this thing back up. That's what's so great about Tailwind, you guys. It's super, super powerful. It comes, that's why I love it so much. It comes as like a just base level, and you can style everything completely. So there hasn't been anything yet. There we go. That's what we want right there. Now, with our H1 here, we can do something, give it a class name, and we could say text, we'll say 4XL. Boom, there it goes. And that is font size 2.25 rem. So, and what this is, you guys, this little pop-up here you're seeing, that is the IntelliSense for Tailwind. I highly, highly, highly recommend you get that if you're using Tailwind CSS. It's a must-have. Just go over to your plugins here, Tailwind IntelliSense, and it is super, super helpful, you guys. I could not imagine working without that. So that's how we're going to do that. And say, hey, how do we center this text? We wanted this text to sit here in the center, and I don't know what to do. That's fine. This is how easy it is, you guys. Just go over to Tailwind here, type in search. We'll just remove that, and we'll say, how do we center? Okay, and then you look, text, we'll say text alignment. Here you go, just click that, text left, text center, and that's all you have to do, guys. Just text center. Let's see if that works. So we can just write text center. Boom, there it is. That's how easy Tailwind is, you guys. It's super, super powerful. You can, you can save so much time and so much, your projects look so much cleaner without all these extra heavy CSS files. So this is so easy, you guys. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to delete that. Boom, there we go. Okay, so we're just going to be working inside of this source folder, you guys. So don't worry about these other folders here for now. And inside this source folder, I'm going to create an assets folder. So we're going to keep some images. And then also, I'm going to create a components folder. And for this video, I'm just going to go ahead and bring over the images I'm going to be using. I just have 2 images here. Boom, there we go. Just these 2 here. And you can grab these. I'm going to put a link to this, my GitHub down in the description below. So feel free to just clone it or just grab these images. If you want to use your own, that's cool too. So that's what we're going to be doing there. Now inside our components folder, let's go ahead and create our Navbar component. So I'm going to type navbar.jsx. And I'm going to generate a functional component here, arrow component, just RAFCE. I'm using the React ES7 snippets extension. We can actually close that. So in here, in our app.js, what we want to do is bring in our navbar. Okay, no option to auto import it. That's right. We're just going to import it here at the top. Components. /navbar. There we go. There we go. Perfect. That's what we want right there. Now in here, let's go ahead and get rid of that there. So since we're using Tailwind, this is going to be super easy. This is a lot of fun, you guys. So for our navbar, what we're going to be using, we're going to be using 2 icons. Let's go ahead and import these here. So for hero icons, what we need to do, actually need to install this application here. So your hero icons. This is it right here. React, that's what we want. So we're just going to click that there. So this is how we install hero icons. npm I hero icons. If you're using Yarn, I'm just going to type yarn add. So let's go ahead and copy that. And our other server here. Yarn add hero icons. Boom, there we go. That should install there perfectly. Alrighty. So the icons we're going to be using today, we have to import them. So I'm going to go to import, then open up some curly brackets. I'm using menu icon, also X icon. There we go. And we're going to import these from hero icons react slash, I believe these are outline here. And let's put our menu icon. Close that off and see if it displays. There's our menu icon. That's what we're using. That's our hamburger menu. Quite large. That's all right. We're going to go ahead and give this, see, width of 5. There we go. Perfect. That's what I want right there. All right. So also in here, we'll come back and use those in a minute. So for our navbar, we're going to be using Flexbox for our navbar. So for this here, we want to use class name. This is going to be width of the screen. So this would be 100 viewport width there. Now I'm going to give this height of 80 pixels. And if we open up some curly brackets, we actually define our own dimensions here. You can put pixels, rem, whatever you like. So that's what we're going to do there. So remember, if you're using Tailwind CSS, the brackets there, you can always define your own limits there. So we also want to do a Z index of 10. There we go. And we're going to give this BZ zinc. We'll do 200. There we go. We want it to be fixed with a drop shadow of large. That's right, what we want right there. Perfect. Now for our next div here, this is like a container you could think of. So let's do this. Let's see, a little padding on the X. So PX2, basically P2 is padding on all sides. PX2 is just going to be on the X axis, so the left and right. And PY would just be on the Y axis, so top and bottom. So we're just using PX2 here. That's what we want. And 2 should be 0.5 rem. There we go. Left and right, 0.5 rem. Very nice. So we want this to be flex and justify between. And that's going to give us our space between there. And we'll do items center, width full, and H full. And what that means is the width is 100% as well as the height here. So don't worry about this icon here. Now in here, we're going to close this up some. Just in here, what we want to have is our logo or our brand here at the top. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a little div to house that. And I'm just going to put it in an H1 and we'll just say brand. There we go. And in this div, we can do class name flex and items center here. And for this here, we can do text 3XL, font bold, margin right 4, okay? Just like padding, we're gonna use margin there. And then what we're gonna say is SM text 4XL. So what this SM is small, and what I want to do is the minimum width, and so Tailwind CSS works off the minimum width. So what that means is basically in this right here, we want text to be it's going to be 3XL, and then anything over this minimum width will go to 4XL right there. So and this minimum width is set to 640 pixels. And what I can actually do is I can actually bring over, if I can find this super quick, I'm going to bring over Tailwind. So in our Tailwind, you don't have to have this in here, but what we can do, I have this screens. I'm just going to put it in here. We can actually just replace that extend. Delete that. Should be it. What's going on here? Here, I'm just gonna replace this whole thing. So, what is going on here? We know our plugins. What is going on? It's bugging out here, you guys. It's fine. Look, I'm gonna close this. Shouldn't be having any issues with that there. Make sure everything is working. Sometimes you just have to restart it, you guys. Sorry about that. So in here, just so we know, the SM is going to refer to 640 pixels, and all the way up to the 2XL could be 1536. So just to keep that in mind there. So going back here, so basically we set the text to 3XL unless it gets on a over over 640 pixels, and then it'll go up a little bit more. So we can just test this out here. We're gonna index. We can see our pixels at the top right of the screen here. And there it is. So 630. So boom, you can see it change just subtly there. Just subtly, you can see it kind of change there. And that is what we want. That's perfect right there. Go and remove that there. So that's what we want right there, you guys. So we have our brand name here. And what we're also going to want in here is we're going to be putting our menu in here right next to our brand. So let's go down here and install our menu here. We're going to use an unordered list with a class name of, let's see here, we're going to use, so in our class, in our order list here, the way we're going to do this, like I said, since everything is performed on a minimum width basis, what we want to say is actually hidden, but anything above, we'll do a medium screen, which is, there it is, 768 pixels. We want this to display as flex. And then inside here, we'll have our list items here, okay? So home, and we'll have an about, and we'll have a support, platforms. This last one can be pricing here. Boom, there we go. There we go, there we go. Looking nice there. All right, and you can't see it right now, but if we open up here, boom, there they are. We'll keep it just above. So there they are right there. We'll leave it like so. Now, like I said, with Tailwind CSS, you can apply styles to all. It's super, super easy. Instead of applying, if we wanted each one of these list items to have padding, that would get kind of messy. So the way we could do that and make it a little bit cleaner is if we go into our index.css here, and what we're going to do on our what we can actually do in our index.css, we can add some styling. So what we're going to say here, at layer base, and then here we can add a list item, and we'll just say at apply P4 for padding 4, boom, and that'll apply to all the list items on our site, on our whole application, everywhere we do this. So what I'm also going to do is add our button here, just while we're in here. So for our button, what we're going to have is, and you can put multiple, you can define multiple items here as well. So what we're going to say for our buttons, we want the text to be white, we want a border, and then we want a background to be BD Indigo 600, and we'll say we want the border color to be Indigo 600 as well. And let's add some, go on a new line here. Oh, what happened there? What I'm going to do is go on a new line, and what I'm going to do is some hover. So the way we do hover in Tailwind, type hover keyword there, and then we're going to say we want the BG to be transparent, because when we hover over the background, we want to change to transparent, and then hover. We also want the text to be Indigo 600 as well. Boom, there we go. And let's give them all a nice rounded medium there. Will be about 6 pixels. So as a border radius. So that's going to be perfect right there. Now that we have all that knocked out, you guys, let's go back into our Navbar, and I'm going to close this down so you can see a little bit better here. Boom. So for our Navbar, let's go and add in, after our UL and this div here, I'm going to create another div, and this is going to be our buttons here, our buttons on the far right of the screen. So inside here, what we're going to have is want this to be hidden as well, and then anything above mediums will display flex, padding right 4 here. So in here, we're going to have our 2 buttons. And this one is going to be sign in, and we'll copy this one down here. And this one can be, whoops, sign up. Perfect. That's what we want right there. Now, on this first button, I actually don't want any border or any background. So I'm going to say border none, BG transparent. There we go. That's what we're going to want there. Perfect. And I also want the text to be black on this. So this is the only button where I'm adding customizations. All the other ones should be perfect. I'm going to add a little, probably a little margin right for as well. Perfect. Now for this button, let's just add some padding here. PX 8, and then we'll do PY 3. Boom. Look a little funky on this here. All right, all right. We're going to go ahead and change this. So we want this on medium. That's what we want right there. It's just displaying a little bit funny there, you guys. So perfect, perfect. We'll come back and have a look at that. All right. Now for the next thing, after these buttons here, we want to create a hamburger menu. So for our hamburger menu, boom, there we're going to go. And we want this just to be, we only want our hamburger to show if it's underneath a minimum width here. So we'll just type MD hidden, which means anything over the medium width, which is 768 pixels, the button will be hidden. Now in here, let's do our navbar, or our menu here, and this is the menu icon. We can actually just copy this down from right here. Boom, there we go. I'll save that. There we go, nice little button right there. Perfect, perfect. So now that we have that, let's style our drop-down menu. So for our drop-down menu, the way we're going to do it in here, what I'm going to do is just come right here, just underneath the container. So we're underneath this parent div here. And what we want to do here, I'm going to give a little space, which is easier to follow along with. Now, this is just going to be a UL, and we'll give this thing, we're going to give this thing a class name of what we want to say is absolute. I'm going to give it a background BG Zinc 200, which is the same as our navbar there. I'm going to take up the full width of the screen. I'm going to do padding on the left and right. Going to be 8 pixels. All right. So let's add some list items in here. You know what? I'm going to copy these. Many ways you can add in a navbar, you guys. This is how I'm doing it. So this is what we want right there. Perfect. I'm going to add a few more little styling in here just to our list items. So the way I'm going to click a little tip here and in VS Code, see our cursor there. I'm going to press the Alt button and then click here, and we can actually type on multiple lines here just to speed up a little things. So I'm going to give this a class name, border bottom 2, then border zinc 300 for the color, and the width to be full. So we're going to have that take up the full width of the screen. That's perfect right there. That's what we want right there. There we go. Now, we're also going to add in our buttons here. So just underneath this list item here, div here with our button, and this one is going to be sign in. Next one will be sign up. Perfect. That's what we want right there. Now let's go ahead and give this one, again, we aren't going to want any background on this one. So BG transparent. The text needs to be indigo 600, and we're going to do padding on the left and right. Set this to 8. You guys, there we go. PY 3 and margin bottom 4. Boom, that's what we want right there. And for this, let's just add our padding here. So PX 8 and PY 3. There we go. That's what we want right there. Perfect. Now let's have these stack on top of each other. So we're just going to say flex column. There we go. Give it a little margin, about 1 rem, top and bottom. That's what we want right there. And this should already have our hover effect. Look at that, you guys. Already have our hover effect from the styles we threw in our index.css. So that's what we want right there. That is beautiful, you guys. Now, we can't close it yet. That's because we don't have any state. And what we need to do now is actually add some state. So in the top of our navbar here, let's go ahead and put a comma here. We're going to import our use state here at the top. And our state is going to be managed just right in here, just underneath our arrow function here. So what we can say is, say const, and we'll say nav and set nav. I'm just naming the variables in here. And this is going to be equal to use state. We're going to set this as a false value on the default. And we're also going to want to have a handle click function. Again, I'm just naming this what I like to name it. You can name it anything you'd like. And we're going to set this to set nav opposite. So we're setting the nav to the opposite of what it currently is set at. So right now it's false. And when we click our handle click function, it's going to set it to the opposite of false, which is true. So that's what we want to do right there. Now, how we do this, we're going to have to go down here and add an on click button here to our buttons. And we'll just do that right here in our menu. Boom, right here. So for our menu icon, we want to say in here, we'll add an on click right here. So just after the class name, doesn't matter really where. On click, we want to run the handle click. Boom, there we go. So that's what we want right there. Now we also need to set up some state in here to kind of toggle back and forth between our state. So we're going to do that here we could do that here on our button here. Let's do our button first. So what we can actually do, we'll say if nav is opposite, we're going to use ternary operator. So basically we're saying if the opposite of nav is true, then we're going to execute this here. Actually, I don't even think we need these here. Else, we're going to execute this here. So, and we actually want our menu icon here first. Else, we're going to display our X icon, I believe it was, the class name width 5. Just to make sure, X icon, that's what we want. That's perfect right now. Oh, there we go. Now, we just need our drop-down menu here to follow that. So let's go down to let's check out our menu here and what we want to set. What we want to set here for our drop-down menu. Boom. So inside here, I'm actually just going to copy all of this right here. Okay, you guys, this would be the easiest way to do it. What I'm going to do, actually, let's just cut that out. So we have that saved. And in here, we're going to delete those quotes, and we're actually going to put some curly brackets. We're going to say, if nav is not true, then we want to display, whoops, we'll put our text in here. We actually want it to be hidden. Else, display absolute. There we go. So now if we click on this, it should drop down. Yeah, there it goes. That's perfect. That's what we want, you guys. That is what we want. So let's scroll this thing open, make sure everything is looking nice. There we go. Everything is looking beautiful there. Perfect. And down on a smaller screen, that is what we want, you guys. That's how powerful Tailwind is, you guys. Not a single CSS file here. That's all we have to do right there, just for some styling. That's so easy, you guys. Boom, there we go. So now let's go ahead and go into our components folder here, and let's start on this hero banner here. So I'm just going to press Control B here to bring this back up, and let's create a hero. Sorry, not a folder. We actually just need to create a file in here. So hero.jsx. And you can write the file extension JSX or JS. Either one's fine. I do JSX so I can use my my extensions here without my shortcuts without any configuration here. So I'm going to type RFCE to get our functional component. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to be using some icons in here. Boom. So these little 4 icons down here. Let's go ahead and import those just so we have access to those. So let's import our hero icons, using hero icons now. So cloud upload icon, there's one of them. Then we're also going to be using database icon. We're going to be using paper, airplane icon, and server icon. There we go. And this is going to be from hero icons, React, and these actually are going to be the solid. Okay, and we're also going to be using an image, this image here, and that one, let's go into our assets folder. That is going to be our Cyberbg there. So let's import that one next. The way we import images in React, you have to import, and then we're going to name our image. And I'm just going to name this image BG image here. And let's go look for it in here. It's going to be in our assets folder, and it's just called Cyberbg. This one's a PNG. Perfect. All right. So now we've imported our images and our icons. So now we have access to use them here in our code down here. So in this outer div, what we're going to have, let's go ahead and do a class name. we're going to have, we want this to be width to be full screen. We want the height to be screen as well, 100% VH. Sorry, the width is going to be 100%, and the height is going to be 100 viewport heights here. Now let's give this a background. Zinc, we'll probably use 200. There we go. And we want the flex column, justify between. There you go. And guys, I've just been using Tailwind just only for a couple weeks now. It's super, super easy to pick up. And the way I usually create my projects, when I was doing custom CSS, I would write all my HTML first, okay, you guys? I'd write all my HTML, JSX, whatever you want, completely unstyled, and then I would go back and style everything. So with Tailwind, it's a little bit different for me. I'm kind of trying the approach of just styling each div rather than just creating divs. I found it to be a little bit easier. I'm still kind of playing around with it and going back and forth. So many ways to do things. This is just the way I'm doing it here. So I just wanted to clarify that. So this next div is going to be kind of like this container here. And we want this to display as a grid, okay? So, and like I said, we're doing mobile first design here, you guys. So basically mobile first, like I said, we're designing on the minimum possible viewport screen as we can here. So we want this display automatically. It's going to be the grid columns 1, and anything above medium screen here. So 768, we want to set the grid columns to 2. And then we'll have just our container here, max width. Then remember, if we open up our curly brackets, we can define whatever we like to use. And I'm going to set this to 1240 pixels. There we go. And then margin auto. So, and I do like being able to see all my HTML in there and then styling it afterwards. So I might do that as well in this video. So now we're going to have, let's see here. Now what we're doing is this left side here. We're going to, if we open this back up, we're going to use this side right here is what we're going to be styling right now. So we're going to have a div here. And what we're going to have in here is our p tag. This is a unique sequencing, say in production. Boom. And then we'll have an H1 that says cloud. So here we are doing it the other way just to see. I said I wasn't going to do it, but here I am. This is our tech brand. Boom, there we go. And then we want a button, and we'll say get started. Let's go ahead and import this so we can actually see what we're doing. All right, there we go. Auto import it. If you didn't auto import, make sure you get it here at the top. So boom, there it is, you guys, from the styling we've done thus far. Let's go ahead and style this up how we want it here. So for this div, what we're going to do is, let's see, flex column. Then we're going to want to justify to the center. Boom, there we go. MD, so I mean 768, and above we want items start with a width of full padding on the X would be 2, which is 0.5 rem. Then PY8 means 2 rem padding on the y-axis, the top and bottom. There we go. Now for this p tag, let's see if we can do anything here. Let's do a text 2XL. Let's see, that is going to be 1.5 rem. That looks good there. For our H1, let's do PY3. It's going to give it about 0.75 padding on the top and bottom. Text, we'll do 5XL. 5XL, there we go. Then anything above 768, let's do text 7XL, be massive here, and we'll do font bold. So boom, that's what we want. Looking good there. Looking good. We'll add this there, boom. And for our button, do class PY3. And we could have added this, you guys. We could have added this to our button in our index.css, the paddings, but that's okay. Let's see how this looks. Can't even select this thing. There we go. Whoa, that looks kind of funky. So PY3, PX. This look. There you go. Want it a little bit bigger though. So let's go ahead and change some stuff here. So let's do, see, anything above small, let's make the width 60%. Also do percentages in here. That's what we want. There we go. And it gets a little bit bigger as the screen gets bigger. That's perfect. That's what we want. Boom, there you go. And full width at the minimum screen there. That's perfect right there, you guys. That's looking really, really nice. See how easy Tailwind CSS is. Super great. Alrighty. So let's go in here and I'm gonna give this a margin real quick as well. Just one rim, top and bottom. There we go. So now let's do the right side, which is gonna be our image. So for our image, boom, there we go. So for our image, let's give it a class name. Well, that's not what we want right there. So in here, we're gonna have our image. And the way we use our image, we don't need quotes there. We need some curly brackets. And then we're just gonna just pass in our BG image. And that is literally all we need to do. Boom, there it goes. React likes you to give some alt tags. You'll throw some complaints down there if you don't. So I'm just gonna throw in a slash there. So everything should be looking pretty good. We're gonna might have to add some little styling to our images here. But that's looking, I mean, really pretty great here. Boom. We'll have to fix a few things, but so far so good. Everything is looking nice. So our image, see if we can do, we're gonna make this take up width full 100%. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Now, see if we need I'm gonna use pesticide. Awesome extension here, you guys, for developers. I recommend you get it. If you do not, boom. All right, everything's looking good there. Perfect. Pesticide just shows you all your boxes here, so it's super easy to use. Use it all the time. It's really great. And if you just reload, all the lines go away. So that's pesticide, so just Chrome extension. Highly recommend you get that. It's a lot of fun to use. So just outside of our image here, this lax div here is going to be the very bottom part right here, this little box there. So we can just add a div here, but we're going to, in this div, boom, there we go. And then we're going to have, see, a p tag. I'm just going to say data services. There we go. Then under that, we're going to have another div with, see, we're going to have a p tag, and that is going to be an icon. And then we'll say app security. There we go. And I'm just going to copy this down because we're going to have 4 of those. Whoop, that's not one. I'm going to copy this down here. Div. That's what we want. Perfect. And instead of app security, we're going to want dashboard design. We're going to have a cloud data. And then we'll have API. Boom, there we go. Perfect. So can't see it right now. That's okay. We're going to come back and style this thing. So for this div containing this box at the bottom, we're going to position that as absolute. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop this down to like a mobile device here. You can really see what we're doing. So let's go ahead and give this class name. This is the data services div here, and it is going to be absolute flex column. It's going to be kind of long here. Padding on the y-axis is going to be 8 to rem. And then anything on medium, we want to say min width. Anything above medium should be 700 pixels, 760 pixels. Bottom, I want to say -5% here. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little space down here, just so you can follow along what I'm doing. Margin left and right is going to be 1. Also going to have left MD, there we go, left 1, 2, transform. There we go. We want a BG to be zinc 200. Give this thing a border, and I'm going to say border slate 300, rounded -XL, text to be center. We'll say shadow XL. I know that was a lot, you guys. Sorry about that. I'll drop that down. I just want this to be able to, you'll be able to read everything there. So let's open this thing up. Displaying a little funny. That's all right. So what we're going to want to do here, let me have a look at this. All right. So this div here, this is surrounding our p tags and also our icon. We're going to come back and add our icon here, our hero icon. So you know what? Let's do that right now. So what we're going to be using this first one here, we can see at the top, cloud upload icon. So I'm just type cloud upload icon, and we're probably going to want to give this, or we'll just leave that there for now. We can go ahead and add them. So the next one is going to be database icon, and let's do a server icon. And this last one, paper airplane icon. Everything's huge. That's right. Remember, I'm going to press this Alt button here so we can go ahead and type on multiple lines. So we can give this a class name. And for this class name, we're going to do flex, or sorry, we're going to give this H6 there. Okay, that's the size we want. And for this p tag, I'm going to do the same thing so I can type on all these lines here. And we're actually going to make the p tag, since our icon is inside our p tag, we can display this as flex, okay? And then px4 and py2. And let's see here. That is looking good. Looks like we left a little arrow there. Boom. Now we want our icons to be that purple color here. So for our icon, I guess we can go back in here and add, we'll say text indigo. We'll give it that 600 color. And that's what we want. And then for over here, let's make this like a gray color. So we'll do text slate 500. There we go. Perfect. Now in this div here that kind of surrounds everything, there we go. What we want to do with this one, flex justify between, then a flex wrap, and padding of one rim on the left and right. There we go. So it's not looking quite how I want it to look. Looks like we're missing something here. Boom, there we go. All right, so what are we missing? Let's go have a look. I know this can get kind of messy here. Absolute flex, got flex column py8, minimum, medium, minimum width, 706 pixels. Bottom, 5%. Boom, there we go. Is that what we need? Our border. There we go. I think that was our only issue. There we go. That's what we want. Yeah, man, that's looking good. I thought we put a bottom here on our navbar. Maybe we're in our hero. Where's our navbar? Drop shadow. That's good. I just misspelled it. It's all. Boom. That's what we want. All right. Everything is looking clean, you guys. See, this is so easy with Tailwind. I'm loving Tailwind, you guys. This is so simple. Boom. There we go. Okay. So for our hero, I think that's it for our hero, you guys. What we want to do next is actually our the support, like trusted by developers across the world. That's what we're going to be doing next, you guys. So let's go in here. We can actually just see close others. We don't do that. So we are going to need our app.js open. So in our components folder, what we need is, we'll say about.jsx. There we go. REFCE to get our component here. And about, import that. That's what we want. There it is. All right, you guys, hit that like button if you like what we're doing here. Smash the like button. I'd appreciate that. Trying to grow this channel here. If you have any input, I'd love to hear your input too. Any critiques, throw them my way. If it's hate, I can take it too, man. Throw some hate my way. It's all good. Alrighty here. So for our class names, our outer div here. You know what? Let's go. Let's try it this other way here, you guys. I'm going to go through and kind of throw it all together, then come back and style it. We'll see how it goes that way. So for this div here, this is kind of like our outermost div. The next one is going to be our container here. And then after our container, we'll have, see, another div that's going to hold our H2 here. And our H2 is going to, I'm going to look at this while I build it here. So our H2, I'm just going to copy this here. Boom. Trusted by developers all around the world. Then after that H2, we're going to have a P tag with some lorem text. You probably just type lorem 20 or lorem 30 to make it a little quicker. And after, outside of that div, boom. Now we want to have this box here. So we're going to have another div and have a div for each box here. And inside the div, we're going to have a P tag that says 100%. And this one's going to say completion. Boom, there we go. Now for this, we can just copy this down a few times there. Next is going to be 24/7. Boom. Then delivery. This is going to be 100K transactions. That's what we want. Boom, there we go. There we go. Let's have a look. There we go. That's it right there. You did that. All right. So let's style this thing. That's all we need for that's it. So let's just throw in some Tailwind, you guys. So boom, we want the width to be full, and then we have, see, margin top and bottom 32. So what is that? That should be 8 rem margin top and bottom. So just giving some space, giving lots of space in between our components here, makes everything really nice and really clean. Don't skip out on the spaces. I'm not a huge design guy. Design is not my thing, but I do know the more space, probably the better. Err on the side of more space, not less space, that's for sure. So in here, let's do our max width, 1240 pixels, MX auto. There we go. All right. And then in here, this is the div for our text here. What we want is the text to be center, and we want our H2 to have, we want our H2 to have a font size or text size of 5XL, font bold. Boom, there we go. That looks nice. All right, and in here, let's do text 3XL, you guys, PY6, and let's give that gray. There we go. There we go. Let's scroll it down. That's what we want. All right, for our box around here, we're going to be using grid here. So let's do grid. Now, once we display grid here, we're going to do grid column 1. Actually, I think we need to even declare that. It's just going to automatically go to one column. But then anything over the medium breakpoint, which is 768 pixels, let's do grid columns 3. There we go. All right. Grid columns 3 on anything over that. We'll give it a gap of 1, so very small, and then PX 2 there. So boom, there we go. Let's open this up. Should display. There we go. That's what we want, you guys. Boom. There we go. All right. So that looks nice there. Let's just add. I wonder if we can do text center. Hopefully this will apply to everything in there. That's what we want right there. Perfect. So for this div, what we can do, hold down that Alt button again, you guys. And we're going to give this a border padding of 2 rem on the top and bottom. Rounded XL. Forget what those dimensions are. It's probably 12. Rounded XL. We'll have to look again. Whoops. Made a little mistake here, you guys. Last name. Oh, come on. There we go. I'm just going to copy this down. Get over that. And like I was saying, this XL, I believe it's about 12 pixels. There we go. I was off a little bit. 12 pixels. And let's do, there we go. We're going to do a shadow. XL. There we go. And that should be it. That's perfect right there. Oh, man. Looking good there. Nice. So let's jack this 100% up. Boom. That's what we want to do. Class name, let's do text 6XL, font bold and indigo 600. Not BG. We just want this to be text. So this is the text color. Oh, we did that wrong. There we go. Nice, nice, nice. And for our p tags here, let's hit those. Boom. Last name, and we'll do text gray. That's 400, and let's just do margin top 0.5 rem. There we go. Nice. So let's open this thing up, see how it looks. That's perfect, you guys. That's what we want. Boom. Look at that. Looking nice. All right. All right. Sweet. Let's do this. That is our about. So let's go on. Next one we'll be throwing up here next. Looks like our support. Boom. Try this again here, just looking at our support. So let's go into our component folder here. New file. New component. Support.jsx. Going to be importing this thing here. Control spacebar. Oh no, it's not letting me import it. Hey, all good here. Let's just import support from components. There we go. All right, you guys. So for our support here, RFC, that's why it wouldn't let me generate it. You have to be exporting to be able to access the auto import. So you have to make sure you're exporting. So for our support here, we are going to be using some icons. There are icons we're going to be using. Let's go ahead and import these things. So we're going to be using 3 icons. And use the phone icon, arrow, small right icon. And that is going to be from React icons. And this is outline. So you have outline and then also solid for put it on one line, so it's so small. You have outline and solid for your hero icons. Just to show you real quick, if we go to hero icons, let's have a look. Boom. So when you look at here, you have the outline and then the solid. And the way these work here, you either copy the SVG, or if this, see here, it says academic cap, the way you would write that would be here, academic cap. You're just going to use camel case, then you're going to add the text icon after it. So if we just use that there, we can now access this icon here. So that's how you do that. We're not going to be using that one though. So that's how we're going to do that. Now we're also, if you're going to use the outline and the solid, I'm pretty sure you're going to have to put these on separate lines, import them separately. So we're also going to be using chip icon and support icon. Going to have to separate these out with a comma. And we'll import these from our hero icon / react / these are going to be solid. Okay. So that's how you import your hero icons here. And you can search for all icons in here. So, but that's how you're going to do that there. I just wanted to show you that, make that clear. Hopefully I can save you some time. That's my whole goal, you guys. I'm not an expert developer here. I don't even code full time right now. So I do some freelance gigs in here and there, and I'm able to work on my own business, coding some stuff. That's super cool. But hoping to transition into a development job here in React in the near future. So right now I'm just doing this for fun and just kind of learning and sharing what I learned with you guys. So if I can kind of help you guys along, that would be great here. So we're actually going to be using, there we go. Now support, what we actually want to do here is actually have another div. So This outer one is going to be, actually, we are going to use the image. Let's import that image super quick as well. So remember how we import our image. Import, I'm just going to call this support image from, it's in our assets folder, and it's just called support. This one's a JPEG. There we go. Now we have access to that image. Okay, so we have our outer div here. Then we're going to have, this is our overlay here. This one's going to be our image. We'll have an image. And remember, we don't use these here. We're just going to bring in support image. There we go. Perfect. And outside of this div, that's just going to contain our image. Now we're going to have a div here. This is going to be our container here. Boom. And then we're going to have a div holding our H2. Yes, H2, which is going to be support. Then underneath our H2, we have a H3. Let's just do a P tag. And I'm going to, no, sorry guys. I'm going to bring in this as my P tag here. Boom, there you go. And under here, I'm going to use this as an H3, finding the right team. There we go, right there. Perfect, perfect. All right. And for these down here, just underneath this div here, create another div. And this is going to be our container for these boxes down here. This is where we're putting coding right now, the div around these boxes. So let's do a div here. And then what we're going to have is a div for each box. And inside the box, we're going to have a div with a icon. We're going to be using our phone icon. And I'm going to go ahead, we don't need to do this yet. Then in here, we're going to have an H3 that says sales. And in here, I'm just going to say lorem 20, like so. We can make it a little bit less if we need to. Boom, there we go. So I'm just going to open this up. That's see how ugly that is. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and style it just now. We're doing 3 boxes, but I'm just going to style it with 1. That way we can just copy down all the styles and make it nice and easy like so. All right. So that's our sales. Let's finish up this contact here. So underneath that div, we're going to do one more div here. And this is going to be the contact us here. So a little div with a P tag. It's going to say contact us. And then inside this P tag, we can throw in our icon. And we're going to have a, what is it? Arrow SM right icon. That's what we want right there. Perfect. So let's go ahead and get some styling done in here. So on this first one right here, what we're going to want to do, this is our outermost div here. We're going to class name, we want the width to be full, and we want the height to be screen, which is 100%. There we go, 100% viewport heights here. And margin top 24, about 6 rem. There we go. Now, for our image div here, we're going to do a width full, height 700 pixels. There we go. Nice, nice, nice. BG gray. This is going to be our overlay here. 900. And the way we use our alpha, boom, 90. There, that's how we use the alpha. And as you can see, we won't be able to see it yet. Yeah, because we still need to position this, absolutely. But that is what we're going to be doing right now. We'll kind of keep it over here so we can see. We use, so 900 is the color. Then to add the alpha, the transparency, and Tailwind, do 90. You could do 80, 50 would be 50%. I'm going to leave it at 90%. And we should be able to see this here shortly if we display it as absolute. I'm going to have to change this image here as well. So let's do the image now. The class name, width full, with the height to be full, 100%, 100%. Object cover. There we go. Make sure we imported that. Object cover. And then we're going to type mix blend overlay, you guys. And that is going to bring our overlay over our screen here. Looks like we're missing something. So width full, the height is 700 pixels, BG gray, absolute, and the image is going to be full object cover, mix blend overlay. Let's have a look here. All right, I'm going to close that out here. We always weren't updating. There we go. Sometimes React is funny like that. There we go. I thought it should be working. It's like, why isn't this working? Sometimes you just have to reload the page or just restart the server. So it happens, you guys. Sometimes don't let it choke you up too long. Everything's looking clean. There we go. All right. So that's how we do the mix blend overlay. Okay. So now we have an overlay on here. And next, let's do this div surrounding the support here. So for this div here, what we're going to give this is, we'll do our container div really here. So for this, left it out there. Okay, kind of break this up here. So for this here, what we want to do is children. What we want to do is class name width, say max width. Let's set up our 1240 pixels here. MX auto, there we go. And let's give a text white, and relative is the positioning we're going to want. Boom, there we go. And our next div here, give it a PX4 and PY12. There we go. Everything is looking good. We'll come back and style all that stuff. So for our H2, let's do padding top 8. We'll do text slate 300. This is for our H2 here. Always do this here. Class name. There we go. Alrighty. So text, we want this to be uppercase, and I think we need to do text center. There we go. Let's see if we can. All right. So for this as well, the H3, let's do, what are we doing for the H3? Text 5XL, font bold, text, that's a good color. Text white would be fine. PY6, and do text center. There we go. Okay, now for this, let's turn this. We want that to be a little bit gray, and we'll bump up the sizing a little bit. Probably that first one too. For our H2, let's do. There we go. So for our P tag here, let's do a padding top and bottom. Gonna be 4, and that looks good. So let's do text 3XL, text slate 300. There we go. That's what we want. Perfect. Now for the bottom part here, for our little box here is what we're styling now. This box right here, gonna be easy, you guys. So for this div right here, we're gonna go ahead and give this a class name of grid. And we should be able to say grid columns 1, and then anything over the large, which what is large? 1024 pixels. Anything above large, we're going to do grid columns 3, relative. The gap on the x-axis we want to be 2 rem, and then gap on the y-axis will be gay. Sorry about that. Gap y 16. Let's see what that is. 4 rem, you guys. 4 rem on the y there. PX 4 and PT 12 and small PT 20 text black. that should be it, you guys, for this one. Boom, there we go. Now, for the, actually, that was for the outermost div. Now here, BG white rounded of XL, and then shadow to XL. There we go. Now, this we're going to want to do padding 8. That's what. Perfect. Now, for our icon, you guys, for our icon here, let's give this a width of 16, padding of 4, and then we'll do BG indigo. Let's do our 600. And we want that actually to be, the phone to be white, so we'll say text white, rounded, large. And margin top, let's go ahead and say -4 rem, so we just slide it up a little bit. That's what we want right there. That is money right there, you guys. Perfect. And this little arrow icon, it's just bugging me being so big. So let's do width 5, margin left 2. That's it. Okay, perfect. So now we can actually see a little bit better what we're doing. Whoops. Didn't mean to paste that. What I want to do is drop that bar back down. So for our H3 is, I believe, where we are at right now. I want to do font bold, and then text 2XL, margin top and bottom 6. There we go. Now for this here, the text here, text gray 600, and text XL, I think it's 20 pixels. And also, when you use text XL, also it increases the line height as well, as you can see here. Super nice there. So thank you, Tailwind CSS, for that. Now, for our div here, that's looking good. Notice the style of this little bottom part here. So we want this bottom to take up the full little width of this little box here. So right here on this outer div here, what we can say is BG slate 100, what we want it to be. Padding left 8 and padding white 4, top and bottom. That's what we want. There we go. Now, this is probably going to need to be this class name. We display this as flex here. So flex items center and text indigo. And our icon is inside our p tag here. That's how we can do that. That's what we want right there, you guys. That's it right there. So the reason I only added once, now I can just copy everything down. So if we find the top of this box, sales, boom. So right here, you guys, we're just gonna copy that down twice. And for sales, we're also gonna use technical support here. So this one here, I believe this is the second one, I think. Here we go. It is going to be technical support. There we go. And we can change our icon. Instead of the phone icon, what are we using? Support icon. There we go. Perfect. And then this last one here, see, media inquiries. So I'm just going to go down here to sales. Now just say media inquiries. And over here, we were going to be using not the phone icon, but we're going to be using the chip icon. That's what we want, guys. Let's open this thing up. Should, yeah, at 1024 pixels, it breaks down to 3 boxes. That's what we want. Awesome, you guys. That is so nice right there. Perfect. And we can throw in some React Smooth Scroll at the end of this, you guys, to make it nice and scrolling nice and smooth. That's what's up right there. Perfect. Actually, maybe add a little padding to that. Let's go into our nav bar here just before I forget. And this, where's our hamburger? This is it here. And I'm going to say margin right. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. All right. That was bugging me, you guys. So that's it with the support. After the support, what do we have here? After support, we're doing this all in one platform here. All right. So let's go ahead into our components folder here. And we'll say, I'm going to say, okay. All in one.jsx, RAF-CE. Now that we're exporting our component here, we should be able to just auto import it. All in one. There you go. So it found it. It found it. All right, for our all-in-one component here, boom, this is this right here, all-in-one platform. We're gonna have 8 notification boxes with our React, or our hero icons, the green check mark. Let's do that right now. So we just created our component here. So let's go ahead and we can get rid of that there. And so this is gonna be our outer container here. Then in that there, we're gonna have another div, and this is gonna be our max width container here. And then I'm just going to look at what we're doing here. It makes it a little bit easier for me here. Boom. We're going to have our H2. So our H2 is going to say all in one platform. There we go. And our next tag is going to be a P tag. And we say lorem 20 should be fine there. There we go. And we're going to stay within our container here. Now, what we want to have is a div. This is going to be the box right now that we're writing, the box for all 8 little components here. So we're going to have a div, and that's going to be a grid there. And inside this div, we're going to have now another card. This will be display as flex. This is the individual box right here. So in here, we're going to have the see, we just have a div with our icon here, and it's going to be check icon. There we go. Oh, we didn't import. Let's import our icon so we have access to that. So we're going to import check icon. There you go. At hero icons / outline. Now we're going to have access to our icon here. There we go. So you can see our icon. This display is a little bit funky, so that's okay. Don't worry about that. We're going to go back and fix that. So our icon here, boom, everything is looking good. Icon, we'll go ahead and give a class name width of 7, and then margin right 4, text green 600. There we go. Just to get that back down to a better size. So text green 600, that's what we want right there. So underneath this div right here, within that div, we're gonna have one more div here, and this is gonna have the notifications here, which I'll just say is an H3. This is notifications. There we go. And then also a P tag. We'll say lorem 15. I'm gonna bring this open a bit. Okay, so it looks like it's displaying properly on mobile on full screens here. So going back over here, let's give this some styling here. So like I said, this is the outermost div. We want the width to be full, and we'll have a margin Y of 32. So 8 rem on top and bottom for the margins. And here it's going to be our max width of 1240 pixels. Margin X is going to be auto. There we go. And PX2, there we go. And for our H2, text 5XL, font bold, text center. For this P tag, we want text to be 3XL, I think should be good. Text, let's type it down, take it down a little bit. There we go. Text 2XL, PY8, text gray 500, text center. There we go. Cool. Now, for this div here, this is the outermost box. We're going to give this a grid. And what we want it to be is it's going to be one. I think we want it to be one on small devices here. But anything above the 640 pixels, we're going to set this grid columns to 2 should be good. Then anything above large, we'll set the grid columns to 4. And we'll give it a gap of 1 rem. then also padding top 1 rem. There we go. Now for our box here, this is an individual box. We want this to be a flex, and then inside here, I don't think we need to really, we don't need to put anything in this div here. Let's see here. Actually, we have an extra div in here. There we go. Let's see how that is. Flex. That's what we want right there, I believe. Now, for our div here around the box, let's see how this is looking actually. Notifications. There we go. Okay. So we're going to have just around here, we have a flex with our icon here. Then we're going to have a div with our h3, p tag, div. I think that's going to be what we want right there. Yeah, perfect. So let's go ahead and copy this down. Actually, before we copy it, we're going to h3. We want the font to be bold. We'll do text large. There we go. And then also text large. Padding top be 2. Padding bottom 4, which is okay. All right. This is looking a little bit funny here. I wonder what happens if we put this in a div, if that changes anything. Ah, there you go. Perfect. That's what we want. I'm going to go ahead and save that so it kind of formats it. And then I'm just going to put a little space here. And so what we want, we have this copy down about 8 times. Let's see. Boom. There we go. Now it should drop down to 4 once we go under, once we go under 1024 pixels, drop down to 2 on each side. Let's have a look. There he goes. And then down to 1. Now that's perfect right there. That's what we want, you guys. I'm going to drop this back down. Now let's go ahead and have a look at this here, because this is not looking right. Our support, we want this to display after our support here. So let's go into our support.jsx, and we should be able to see H screen. Let's see if we can just delete. There we go. That's it. Okay, perfect. Make sure everything works properly. Perfect. And down on mobile devices. Perfect. That's what we want. So we just need to get rid of that screen. We didn't want to define the full width of the screen because that's where it was cutting it off right there. So now it just says basically by deleting that, it's just take up however much space the content is going to take up and then end the page there. So that's what we want right there. Perfect, you guys. We are done. Excuse me. We're done with all-in-one platform. Let's do this awesome pricing component here with these buttons we're going to use, and for Tailwind. Boom. There we go. So next, let's go and delete those, and let's create our pricing.jsx. There we go. RAFCE is going to get us our functional component, and it will be exported so we can access it here. There we go. Pricing. And we should see it down here at the bottom. There we are. Perfect. So in pricing, what we're going to want to do, we have our outer div here. And for our pricing, we are going to be using the check icon here. Perfect. So let's import the check icon so we have access to that. Import check icon from rect icons. And this one is going to be solid. A little bit different. This one's going to be solid. Now we have our div here. This is the outermost div, and then we're going to have the, if I can just look here, perfect. This is going to be our kind of container here. There we go. And then inside of this, we're going to have another div. Boom, boom, boom. So actually, I'm going to delete this. So this second div is going to be our background, and we're actually just going to display this one absolute. So I'm just going to say absolute. Give myself a little note there. Then here is going to be our container, and within our container, we're going to have another div here, and this is going to house our H2. That's going to say pricing, and then down here we're going to say lorem 20, and that's going to be for our. We'll just give this as a p tag. And let's copy this here. The right price. Why can't I copy this? That's fine. We'll say H3, the right price for your research. There we go. Boom, 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 boom. All right. And we have this text down here completed. And next we're going to do our columns here. So this is going to be a container that we're holding for our two boxes here. And then each side, we're going to have the left and the right side. So this first div is going to be on the left. And then it's going to have a span. It says standard. There we go. Now underneath that span, we're going to have a div, and the p is going to be, I'm going to go ahead and, so I pressed save, so it formatted that there. Now in this, we're going to say $49. And for this, we'll have a span. It says month right there. Perfect. Then we're going to have another div here with our, actually we can just make this our p tag here. And this is going to say, we'll say lorem 7. There we go. Give some space so we can see what we're doing here. And this is going to be a div. So for this outer div here, this is going to be for our text and checkboxes right there. So we're going to have a P. In here, we're going to have our check icon. And then we're going to have, let's say lorem 3. And then after that div, we can go ahead and copy this down a few times. Say we'll have 5. There we go. And after this p tag, let's throw a button. And it says get started. All right. There's our icons. So perfect. That's what we wanted there. Now let's go ahead and style this, you guys. Real quick. These buttons drive me crazy. So I'm gonna give these class name. We'll do width of there we go. Width 8 is gonna be fine. We'll do width of 8. Then margin right 5. Text green 600. Okay, perfect. Now let's go up to the top of this thing that we're going to be styling. And for the first div here, we're going to width of full. I'm just going to go ahead and say text white because we're going to be throwing some background over here. I know you can't see it right now. That's fine. Then this div here, this is the div that's going to be positioned absolutely. And this is just going to be our background color. So it's actually going to be an empty div. I just threw the note in there so I remember. I like to make a lot of notes while I'm coding here. All right, so, excuse me, this width is going to be width of full. And it's going to be a height of 800. Put this in our brackets. So we can define whatever we like there. 800 pixels. This is going to be the black box that our cards are going to extend past just a little bit here. So BG slate, we'll do 900. Like I said, this one's going to be absolute with a mix blend overlay again. Blend overlay. There we go. Perfect. That's what we want right there. Nice, nice, nice. So there we go. I know it's kind of hard to see, but these are actually kind of like see-through a little bit. So we're going to have to give that a class of relative, and you'll see what I'm talking about as soon as we make that change. So the next here we're going to do, this is our out of our container here. We'll say max width 1240 pixels. There we go. And we want to do MX auto PY12. Perfect here. Now for this div, just giving some space so it's easy to follow along here. Now for our pricing, this div here, we'll give it a class name. We want the text to be sender PY. Padding on the top and bottom is going to be 2 rem. Text slate 300 there. Perfect, perfect. Now for this text, we want the text to be 3XL. We'll make it uppercase. So that's the text transform uppercase right there. Perfect, perfect. And for this H3, we'll do 5XL, font bold, text, white, and PY. There we go. Perfect, perfect. That is what we want. And then for this here, text 3XL. Let's see how that turns out. Perfect. That's what we want right there, you guys. Looking nice. So for our card, let's style our card. That looks kind of funky right there. So for our card, let's knock this out. This is actually the card container. We're going to have 2 different cards. So for this one here, let's give it a grid here, and then we're going to want this to be basically it's going to be displaying 1 column on small devices, then anything over medium, which is 768 pixels, let's do grid column 2. There we go. So anything above medium will show 2 columns. Boom. So you can't see it, but it's there if we use our pesticide. Now you can see 2 columns. Then we scroll down. Right there's our breakpoint. And we're going to go ahead and keep styling this here. So I'm going to drop this down just a tad. Boom. All right. So we have our grid that drops down to 2 columns. Now, excuse me, for this next one here, we actually want the card. This is the card itself that we want to have a background of white. Text slate 300. Let's do 900, be a little bit darker. Perfect, that's what we want. Margin 4, which is 1 rem. Padding, we have 2 rem. Rounded, XL, shadow, 2XL. There we go. Kind of see that shadow a little bit. Now for this span, what we're going to do for this standard, there we go. We want this to be uppercase, there we go. Padding, PX3, PY1. This is our background, so be a little off purple there. Perfect, perfect. And then text, indigo, 900, should be nice and dark. Text, indigo, 900. And let's do rounded 2XL. Text small. There we go. Let's reload this and see how it looks. That's looking right there. That's what we want. Perfect, perfect. Now, I'm going to go ahead and drop that box down so we can see a little better. And for this div here, that's surrounding our price and our little lorem text here, we're not going to need anything there. But for our price, we actually want this to be a little bit bigger. So we'll say text for our pricing here, 6 XL. This would be quite large there. Let's see what that is. 3.75 rem. That's 60 pixels. We'll do font bold and PY4. And we actually want this to be a flex so we can, I want this to be a little bit smaller, that little month there. That's why we're making that flex. And then for this span here, we'll do text, XL text, slate 500, flex call, justify, and that's going to drop it down to the bottom here. Should, at least there. We want to drop it down to the bottom here. I don't want it at the top. So we have flex column, justify. There we go. Just didn't finish there. Boom. So that's what we want right there. Perfect. Boom. That looks looking nice. And for these down here, so for our text here, we're going to need just a little bit of styling here on our text. So let's give that a class name of text 2XL to make it a little bit bigger, PY8 to give it some padding, and we'll do text slate 500. All right, there we go. Now, for this div here is surrounding, all of our icons. So let's do text. A little opposite color there. Let's style this P tag, because I don't think we're going to need anything else here. Let's style this P tag. We'll style all of them here. I'm just pressing the Alt button down there. So class name, we'll do flex, padding top and bottom, 1 rem. There we go. Not bad, not bad. That's what we want. All right. We change the size a little bit here. So let's do, I'll hold this down. I can add it right here. Text, we'll do 2XL. Should bring it up a little bit. There we go. Nice, nice. Looking nice there. That is what we want. Perfect, 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 perfect. All right. I wonder if it makes a difference. Okay, so if I remember what I said, some of these are kind of like see-through a little bit. So as you can tell this one looks a little bit darker than the others, and that's because we're getting a little bit of this overlay here, a blend. So if we just add a relative class, that should actually fix that. And I'm wondering if I add it up here, let's see. If we add it here, will it change anything? So actually, you see that? There's a massive change there. So I'm just going to delete that. So we'll just add these as relative. So if you see if I delete that, you can see these get a little bit darker because we're getting some of this dark overlay here from the background. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that back to relative. That's what we want. Perfect, you guys. So let's finish with our button. We got to style our button down here. So let's give this class name. We want to give it a width full. We actually don't even need the rounded. PY4 and then MY4 for some margin. Boom, there we go. And let's see. Do anything else? I think that's perfect right there, you guys. So we used a different color. That's fine. For this, I'll just leave it as is for this color. So if we open this up, this should be on the left side. We only did one box here. And now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy that down and we'll just change the pricing. So this is the standard. Boom. So let's grab this. What's the outermost div here? Boom, this right here. So what we're going to do is just copy that. And we'll just copy it down there. Instead of 49, this one can be 99. And this one can be, we'll say, just say premium. Boom, there we go. Open this up. That's what we're at there, guys. Standard and premium, perfect. Everything is looking nice. That's how we want it. That's how we want it. Perfect, perfect. And let's have a look on mobile devices, iPhone. Ooh, looking clean. Everything is displaying beautifully. That is what we want right there, you guys. Smash the like button if you like what we're doing here. Trying to keep this energy up here and going. So that's it right there for our pricing component. Now let's go down and finish our footer here. And then we'll wrap it up with the React scroll. So for our footer, what we can do for our footer, we're going to need to go in and create a Control B here to pop this open. And we're going to create another file here, our footer.jsx. And RAFCE, we'll get our functional component here. And let's go ahead and import footer. I don't think it imported. I'm going to press the Control space to open that up. There we go. Now, perfect. That's what we want right here. Just drop this down so we have some room. Now, for our footer, we're going to use some icons. We're actually using React icons. I didn't find the hero icons I wanted, so we'll just install that real quick. Yarn, add, or React-icons. Again, if you're using npm, it's just going to be npm React-icons. So go ahead and install that there. There we go. And just to make sure that installed correctly, we can check our package. There it is. React icons right there. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and import the icons we're going to be using. Very, very similar to the same way we import our others. So we're going to be using FA Facebook. We're going to be using FA GitHub. I need to separate these with a comma. FA Instagram, FA Twitter, and we'll say FA Twitch. There you go. We'll be using all these, and we're importing those from React icons. Now, these have an FA in front of them, so we're going to import these from React icons /FA. So here's our footer here at the bottom. So this is our outer container here. Now inside we're going to have this is our container. They're going to have a div with an H6 in here. And we're going to say solutions. Boom, there we go. Then under here, an order list. And we're going to have a list item. And this one's going to be marketing. Copy this down. We'll say analytics. Boom. Data. We'll say cloud. Boom. There we go. Let's open this up. That's what we want right there. Perfect. And remember the LI we added, so already have padding of 4. We added that in the index.css file at the beginning of the video. So that's why we have some padding there right out of the box. So for our footer, what we want is, see, we're going to have a grid system down here, and we're going to have 6 columns. We're going to have 4 unordered lists here, and then our subscribe box on the right is going to take up 2 columns. So that is how we're going to be doing that there. And so let's go ahead and style this one here. Then we can just copy everything down. So the class name here is width going to be full, margin top 24, BG slate 900, and then text gray 300, PY 8, and then PX 2. Now for our container here, max width 1240 pixels. There we go. MX auto, and this is going to be, like I said, grid. Anything above medium, which is the 768, we want the grid columns to be 6, and then border bomb 2, border gray 600, PY 8. There we go. There we go. All right. So we still need to add some things in here. So underneath, this is our little footer here. We're going to leave that blank. For this here, we can add font bold, uppercase, and PT2. There we go. Perfect, perfect. Now for our UL, that's fine. For this, I'm just gonna take down the padding just a little bit. So we'll say PY1, just to take it down a tad. That looks good there. And what we can do, I'm just gonna this div here, copy this because we're gonna have 4 of these. So the first one is solutions, and then next we're gonna have support. And you don't have to type all these in, guys. You can do whatever you like here. We'll say pricing, documentation, guides, API status. We'll delete this last one just so they're a little uneven here. And we'll have a company about. This one can be blog. And we'll say jobs, press, partners. And then we'll have this last one, legal. And we'll have, let's do claims, privacy, terms, policies. See how that looks. That's not what we want. Looking good so far. Boom, that's what we want. But we actually want this to probably take up, we'll say grid call 2. There we go. Then anything above medium, we're going to jump to 6. That's perfect. So let's add in right here. So just below this div, boom. Our next div we're going to create, and in here we're going to actually have this div, and this is going to be we'll give a span column span 2 pt8 and anything padding top 2. All right, and we're going to have our subscribe to newsletter here. Perfect. And then we're going to have the latest news articles and resources to your inbox weekly. Perfect. There we go. Now we are going to want a form. Boom. We don't need an action since this form isn't going to submit to anywhere. But in here, we're going to have our input and email. Fine. Then after our import, we want a button. And it'd be subscribe. There we go. That's what we want. And then at the very bottom, we're going to have another div here with some social icons. So let's go ahead and do that very bottom. So just underneath this div here, and then underneath, so this is the container div. Underneath that, but within this parent div still, we're going to have one more div. And in here, we can say, I'm just going to separate this so it's a little bit easier to see. Now in here, we're going to have our p tag that says 2022 workflow LC. All rights reserved. There we go. Perfect. Now, div with our icons, we're going to have FA Facebook, FA Instagram. There we go. FA Twitter. I was picking random ones, you guys. So FA Twitch, and then we'll do FA GitHub. Perfect. There we go. All right. So let's style this thing from here down. It's looking kind of funny right there. We need to style this and then down here as well. Keep this open. So for our form here on the right, what we're going to want to do, we have the column span set to 2, so it's taking up the correct amount of room on our grid system down here. Now for this p tag, I'm going to skip this font, bold, uppercase. How does that look? Oh, there we go. Matches the others there. Now this p tag here, py4, there we go. And then for our form, we want to do flex column, and then anything above small, we'll do flex row. There we go. Perfect. Now for our input, let's do a width. Let me say width full, P2 or rounded. We're going to round it to be medium, and then margin bottom. Perfect. Now for our button, we'll do P, Y, try P2, and B4. That's looking okay. Now let's drop this thing down and make sure that's what we want. Perfect. We just hit, that's what we want. We want it to stack on mobile devices. Looks perfect. Let's hit this bottom part here. So we actually want this to display as flex, and we want to give this the max width is 2 since it's outside of our container. So the way we want to do that is just the same as the above. So we'll do a max width 1240 pixels, margin auto. There we go. And we're also, like I said, since we're doing flex, we want to do justify between. But we only want this to, we only want justify between if it's we only want justify between if it's on larger devices here. So on the small, we'll just say on a small flex row, we want it to be text center as well, and text gray 500. That is looking perfect right there. Now we want these here, our divs here, or our icons here. Windows displays flex, justify between. There we go. Anything above small, we'll do a max width of 300 pixels, and padding top 4, text to Excel. Boom, there we go. Now, justify between. Let's open this up. All right. So for this div here, looks like we're missing a little something here. I'm gonna add in padding in here as well while we're at it. px2, py4. So this we actually want to display anything above small, max width. Let's change this to just width, I think was the issue. There we go. And justify between. These are offset a little bit. No, that didn't do it. Let's get rid of one. Is this up here, I believe. There we go. I dropped it down just a little bit. That's what we want. Now, make sure everything is looking good. Small flex row. All right. Now, let's drop this down to a mobile device. Ooh, and we want this to actually, so see. So instead of flex, what we could actually say, flex column, and then down here, since we have this small, anything above 768 should just be displayed as flex here. So as we open that up, that's not what we want. Let's have a look here. So we have a flex column. I'm gonna add this in here. So that is what we want. Let me use this pesticide. That's not what we want. What are we doing here? Okay, so let's see here. What we want. Let me get out of this pesticide thing. It's kind of annoying sometimes. So on mobile devices, that's perfect. Ooh, we still want these to display a little bit further across, because on this one, original build, there we go. Yeah, there we go. So we want on small, else we want the width at 100%, 1240 pixels. Margin, make sure it's margin X. Auto, there we go. And items are center. We don't need this item center here. We do need the justify content to be between. There we go. That was the issue there. Now, there we go. Perfect. Now we still need these to line up because that's looking a little bit funny there. So pick center, gray 500. There we go. We just add a little bit of padding. That's perfect. Let's have a look. Is this what we want? It's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. We might need to change these. Just change this color a little bit. We could do. Let's see. If we wanted to, you don't have to, you guys. Let's see. We'll leave it at that for now. Let's scroll this thing open. We'll add a little placeholder in this input down here. Placeholder, enter email. There we go. Boom, there we go. So let's drop this thing down. Well, let's bring it up full screen. See how it looks. Boom, go up the top. Everything is displaying beautifully. That is what we want, you guys. Perfect. Thank you for following along. Smash the like button if you haven't already. I appreciate that. So let's have a look. Everything, our hover effect is working properly. Let's scroll down. Trusted by developers. Perfect. Support team. We have our overlay here with our image. Offsetting the margin there. Ran into a few problems. We got those fixed. Everything is looking beautiful. That is what we want, you guys. Perfect. That is what you want. Now, looking at it on a mobile device here, boom. Everything is looking beautiful. That is what we want, you guys. That is perfect. Now, let's go ahead and add this React Smooth Scroll to really wrap up our project and give it a more professional feel here. Boom, perfect. That's what we want. We want it to stack on mobile. Everything looks perfect. All right. So I'm going to drop this back down. Now, let's go to, let's type in here. We'll say React Smooth Scroll here. Oh, we don't want that. Not DigitalOcean. This here. Perfect. So we want to go ahead and install this. So it's going to be npm I React Scroll. I'm going to go to my open terminal here. I'm using Yarn again, so Yarn add React scroll, boom. Go ahead and install that. Now I'm going to press Command B to get my side folder here back up. Now in our Navbar, so we're looking here, in our Navbar, what we're going to want to do, we're going to import this right here. Boom, I'm just going to copy that, import it here at the top. We're actually not going to use all of these. Probably not use any of these. These events, element, button. Not sure if we're going to be using any of those, but these for sure. Now let's scroll down. Here is our link right there. I'm just going to copy this. Now I'm just going to paste this right here, and I'm going to drag this open a little bit further so we can see what we're doing. That's what we want. Now we can actually clean this up a bit. I'm going to delete that. We don't need that. We will keep the offset for now. Smooth, true. We don't need this spy. We are going to need this. We won't need the active class. There we go. Now in here, boom, home. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put this around a list item here. That way we can still maintain all of our styling here. So I'm just going to copy this down a few times, and we'll just change these out with about, and then our next one was support, and then we're going to have platforms, and then pricing. There we go. Perfect, perfect. Let's get rid of those. Make sure everything still looks as it should. There you go. Perfect, perfect. Now let's go over. We're going to have to do the same thing to our mobile device here, our mobile menu. So let's just copy these. Or before we copy these, let's go ahead and add. So the way React scroll works, the smooth scroll, we're going to name our components that we want to scroll to, and then we can just call those in here. So bringing this back up, if we go to, for this home here, I'm going to put this as home. And then in here in my hero, because our nav bar is fixed, we're just going to give our hero, let's give it a name as home. And then the about is our next section here. We're going here, we'll just give it another name, about. And then for our pricing, we'll do the same thing. Pricing. And in here in support, name, support. That is what we want right there. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now, let's close all of these. Don't need those. Still need navbar here. So in here, we call that one home. We called about, we just called that about, and then the support. Platforms, we need to go back and do this one. Platforms, and then pricing, pricing. Now platforms is the all-in-one. So in here, probably should have called this component platforms. That's okay. So name, platform. All right. So let's open this up and see if it is working. Support. Uh-oh, something's going on. Let's refresh. Pricing, support, platforms. There we go. So that is working how it should. Boom. Now we actually want to add the offset here, because you see if we click home, everything is shook off by our navbar here. So what we can add in our navbar, so home offset is 50. Let's just try 100 here to see how that works. Actually, probably don't even need offset all on this one. Let me see if we're gonna need that. Okay, that's what we want. Perfect. So for about, we're gonna need a pretty big offset for about. Let's try this 200, and for support, we'll do -50. I think this needs to be actually -200, and we'll try -100, and then that's how this looks here. Pricing, that looks good. Pricing, that's perfect. Platforms, looking good. Support, about, home, perfect. Now, if we go to our mobile menu, it's not going to work because that's a different menu. So what we can do is just copy this here. Perfect. Down here. And actually, so we need to add this class name. I'm just going to copy this whole class name in right here. Boom, perfect. And I'm just going to use my Alt tab here, Alt button. Just paste it in there. Oh, I just saved it and it formatted. Kind of funny. I'm going to go back. Sometimes I don't like the way it formats it. So that's what we want right there. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And kind of move that over, and we can now delete these. See if it works. Support, boom. But we have an issue whenever we click on the button, our menu does not shut down. And this is a problem. This is a very big problem. So let's go into our code here. The way we're going to fix that is with our state here. So we have our handle click, and see what we can also say. We'll give it a const. Say handle close. And we can set nav to F. There we go, just like that there. And on our mobile menu, we'll just have on click, and we'll run this handle close function here. So, and this is very important. You cannot put it on the list item element. You have to put it on the link element here, okay? So if you're running into some issues, make sure you have it on the right element. So what we're going to say is on click, we want to handle close. So let's see, that should be everything we need here. Click on support. Uh-oh. Something said, oh, there it goes. Okay, so I think it's working. Pricing, there we go. Platforms, support, there you go. And about, this is clean, you guys. This is so perfect. There we go. All right, guys, we are completed. We have completed the project. Here we have the cloud management application here. We designed it in React.js using Tailwind CSS. We wrote 0 custom CSS, you guys. How powerful is that? This is so easy to use, Tailwind. I'm really loving using it in my projects here recently. I'm having a really great time with it. If you like the video, make sure you smash that like button below. Trying to grow this channel up here. I'm gonna have some more content coming out here in the near future. Be working in React.js, some MongoDB, and also some Firebase. So I hope you liked it, guys. Make sure you like the video, and I will see you on the next one.